All right, everybody. Welcome to the F Yeah Bro podcast. My name is Todd Kelly. I'm the writer creator of Project Titans and Atlas Rising. I am lucky enough to be here today with my co-hosts and cohorts, Mr. Nick Sermon and Angel Diaz, and we are blessed to have our guest, Mr. Marvin McDonald. So I'm going to let them all introduce themselves. Take it away.
Hey guys, my name is Nick Sermon. I assist Todd in Project Titans Atlas Rising, doing his website, social media stuff like that. Um, Angel.
Yeah, so I'm Angel Diaz, and it's safe to say I am the least educated in this space, in this group here, out of the four gentlemen, or the three other gentlemen. But I've got three little kids. I am in North Texas, super hot out here. Excited to be part of this group and learn about this whole genre, comics and creative content creation. And yeah, so that's me.
Now, I would suggest by your background, it seems like you've got a very strong
Oh,
background
you
in it
would think.
already.
You would think, but that's because this is my son's room, who's 7 years old, and I grew up all about sports, loved it, and God blessed me with a son who loves Marvel and DC, and so now this is my now in my mid-30s, it's my turn to learn a little bit about it, and so really he should be co-hosting this podcast, but for now you're stuck with me.
Well, we're happy to have you. And then our absolute guest of honor today, Mr. Marvin McDonald, who I met at my first Comic Con. And so it's very fitting that we have him here on our first podcast. So, Marvin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Marvin McDonald, aka MD McDonald. Most of the time, you'll see I use that a lot. I'm the owner and creator of Swurve Comics. I do all the writing, I do all the coloring, I do all the lettering, I do the whole comic book, except for print. And just starting out, still kind of new, but a veteran. I've been doing a lot of other like variant covers for people and stuff like that. I do a lot of fan art. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Well, hey, man, we are excited to have you, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to throw some questions at you, and again, we're just going to get together, talk, BS it out. All right. So I kind of got the first one. So obviously, you're an absolutely amazing artist, and I've always got to ask this: what made you get into art? Like, what inspired you to do it?
Well, I will say, ever since I was little, it was like my mom used to say, it was a God-given gift. I've been drawing ever since I was like 3, 4 years old, and I always loved cartoons and comics and everything. And as I got up, I kept drawing like Spider-Man, Batman, the normal. And then as I got a little older, I just started to create my own little characters and stuff, do my own little genre and everything and stuff. So just kept being consistent with it until finally I started working night shift at my job. It was very long. It was very boring. And I started writing stories about people who I work with and making fun of them. And then I started to take those characters and turn them into like comic book stuff and start sketching them out. And it basically went from there, man. And now it's grown into Swurve Comics.
So now, if any of those get out, are you going to be in trouble? Like, is this where somebody's going to get offended, or do we have to worry about somebody coming after you?
Sir, all names and likeness have been changed due to the fact of copyright, and so no likenesses. Even though it looked like them, it is not them. Trust me. I've already worked on that.
Fair.
Love it.
Marvin, what for upcoming artists or anything like that? What's some advice that you want to give some of those upcoming young artists that are out there?
Well, what I like to do a lot of time is when people ask me stuff like that, I would tell them every day, take like 30 minutes, 45 minutes out of every day, and if you're just going to sketch something, doodle, always perfect your skill, always perfect your craft. I would even say me doing this comic book, Hardcore Chronicles of the Hit Squad, I think even my art has gotten a lot better. I have kind of created my own little style, I like to think, where I take basically traditional art and I kind of mix it with some of the anime style with the fast moving, long, hard lines and everything and stuff like that, the action scenes. So I'm trying to take those two and blend it. And I think if you're just starting out as an artist, I think you should at least take every day. If that's something you enjoy, is also a stress reliever. Take 45 minutes out the day, man. Doodle, draw, perfect your craft. That's all I can tell you right there. Just perfect your craft and keep it going. All you can do is get better.
So Marvin, these guys certainly have the privilege of knowing you previously. Obviously, the first time I've had a chance to speak with you. Todd told me a little bit about your background, but my first question was going to be who Swurve was, but now I understand Swurve Comics, so that makes sense. But like, who is Marvin? Where's Marvin from? Tell us about like, where you grew up, family life. Like,
Marvin McDonald is a Bahamian transplant to the United States who grew up on the East Coast over in Port St. Lucie County, the Fort Pierce area, Martin County. Then moved up to Brevard County. So I used to see the space shuttle go off all the time and all that kind of stuff. And then I got a job working with kids. And then I got transplanted over here to the West Coast. And I stayed over here with the West Coast, worked with kids, doing like security and stuff like that. And in my part-time, I used to sit there and work with the kids. I used to tell them if they behave, I draw them a picture. And
nice.
It would work until they got the picture. Once they got the picture, it was being bad again. So that was a setup I had with them. But a lot of the kids used to just like the art and stuff. They used to challenge me to different things. I think Todd seen them. Like they asked me to draw like a black version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z. And I think that's one of my best-selling little fan arts that I have out there. And now all that came up was from a challenge from one kid. And he told me he'll be good for a week if I did that. And after he got that picture, that following Sunday, he turned back into that child that we did not want to have.
I believe it. I've got 3 kids. I believe it. It definitely seems about accurate.
But he kept his word. So he was good for a week.
I was about to say, he gave you a full week. So that's, I was going to say, so I have seen the Broku picture, and that is absolutely freaking awesome. I think, so before we even started tabling, Nick and I, we actually saw you at the Tampa Bay Comic-Con the year before we started tabling. I think I
still remember you guys.
Yeah. So we saw you guys before, and it was so funny because like I remember you had a line. Like, I mean, it was like we just kind of got to walk by and like, introduce ourselves and move on. But I mean, like you had a line, you were selling, you were just doing big things, and Broku was one of the ones that I actually remember seeing. And then I remember when we met you at the first Comic-Con. So our first one, for anybody who doesn't know this, like me and Nick, like we showed up, we drove down that night. It was down in Kissimmee where we were all together. And we got there. We didn't even. They had given away our table, so it was just an empty spot. We it was supposed to have a tablecloth. Didn't have a table for show. We didn't even know. Whole first day without a tablecloth.
We lost him.
We did.
He's gone.
He's frozen.
He's in
this guy. Man.
All right, Nick, you're supposed to pick up where Todd left off, man.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know where he's going with the story. I do remember the trip. I don't remember much about it, but I still kind of it was a.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Hey, there he is.
What just happened? I'm going to blame my new internet on that one. Was I like frozen? Like, what was that?
No.
Yeah, you got caught in the multiverse, man.
That's true.
I was like just giving this impassioned speech. Like I was ready to go. I'm not even going to edit that out.
Back over again.
Bring it home. Come on.
Bring it home. They gave away our tables. There was empty space. Nothing.
Yeah, they gave away our tables, so we had the empty space. But I remember hanging out with you that, again, we got to talk to you and meet you at that show. And I mean, you were just, again, super cool, gave us some great advice, really helped us out. Made us feel, amazing. Because again, we were over there with no freaking tablecloth, looking like amateurs and being amateurs. And again, I remember you were just cool. And again, you were selling really well at that show, and it was absolutely awesome. And you actually gave me one of my first bit of what I'll call critical advice on the lettering. And I remember that was, that was actually really, really helpful. You were one of the first people to look at my book and actually like give us like some really, really critical advice and like the importance of lettering. Who was the first person kind of for you that really dug into your stuff and, really instead of just looking at it and saying, hey, it's cool, you finally put it on paperwork or pages, but how do you, actually gave you that critical and helped you get to that next level?
You mean like as in finally kicked me in my butt and told me to go do it?
That's it. What I'm talking about. Who's that person that just was like, yo, not only go do it, but make it great. You know what I mean?
Well, the whole part of making it great is just me, because I've been doing art for, like I said, for a long time. And Swurve has been around for a while, not just in comic books. I used to do like T-shirts and stuff too. I had like a line of T-shirts. So if I put that name on something, it's got to be something good. I don't want to put my name on something that's going to be like kind of crappy. And since I'm the one that's creating the art, I'm my own worst critic, but if it don't get past me, then I can't do it. But the person who truly inspired me to go ahead and do the art, that was my son. And that was me taking him to my first Comic-Con, which is down here where I live in Fort Myers. And he was walking around at the tables, and you know how they say sometimes out of the mouth of babes, he was like, yo, Dad. And I was like, yeah, what's up, man? He was like, your stuff look better than some of these guys' stuff, and they got a table. And I was like, yo, shut up, man. I was like, don't be saying, I said, you can't disrespect people's art. I say, everybody got their own interpretation. He said, well, I interpret that your stuff is better than their stuff. And he was like, I think you should get a table too. I say, you gonna do it with me? And he was like, yeah, I'll do it with your dad. So that's basically how I started out getting the tables and stuff. I say, well, the next time they have a con, I say, I'll get a table. And then I ran into a couple of other guys like Mike Seeley and Rob Anderson. I ran into those two guys at a con, and they helped me put together like a portfolio and what to do. And trust me, my first con, I was, like I told you guys, I was just like you guys. When I showed up, all I had was a book, my little portfolio, no tablecloth. I didn't even have business cards. I just came up there. I had
that sounds familiar.
My portfolio. I think I had the square to like. I was like, I accept credit card. You know what I'm saying? I was like standing there, and I'm like, ain't nobody finna buy my stuff. I was like, because I just had like fan art, and when I do fan art, I always inject some of my characters into the fan art, so you won't walk around and be like, because y'all know how it is at the Comic Cons. When you go to the cons, you can see Superman, Batman. You can walk around the con and you see those same pictures 20, 30 times, you know what I'm saying? So something I said I would do with mine, I said I would inject one of my characters into the fan art. And I was like, ain't nobody gonna buy my stuff, man. I was like, they don't know who my character, they don't know who 8-Ball is and everything. They don't know who Baby Doll is. And my first person who actually came up and bought like about 5 pieces of my art, 5 posters from it, was this little old lady, man. And I thought like Granny was on something, you know what I'm saying? Because she came up to me, she was like, oh my God, I love your art. Are these your characters? I'm like, yeah, these are my characters and stuff like that. And she was flipping through my book and she was like, can I have that one? I was like, sure. You know, I want that one. I think she bought like 6 posters from me. And I was like, you want those? She was like, yes, I love your art. So I was like, yo, it's like $60. And she's like, boom. I was like, what? So, like I told you guys, you guys weren't the first ones to do that. I did it. I had no business cards, tablecloth. They gave me a table, and I had like a box. I think I had a box with other pictures in it, and my portfolio, and like some other pictures I had, and that was it. But I'll never forget that little old lady who came and bought like 6 of my posters right off bat, man. And that was, after that, it was on and popping then. So I was grateful for that. But like I said, for the one who really made me stop talking about doing it was actually my son. He basically gave me that challenge. And he done did a couple of cons with me. And then he went on to run track and stuff. And now he's like ranked like him and his team for about a 4x1. I think they ranked like number 3 in the United States now.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Nice.
I don't know.
Now we're talking Angels language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell him I don't know where you get the speed from, because I could run you to the stove, but it'll be in my car. But that's about it.
So what kind of royalties does he get? I mean, he's the one who encouraged you to get your stuff out there, the table. Like, we're talking 10%,
He gets a roof.
5%, something.
He gets to have my last name, and then he called me up and asked me for like shoes and money and stuff.
Okay.
He gets to have some of that. That's his royalties.
Okay.
There you go.
That sounds like a solid trade. Solid trade.
That is it. Trust me.
Hey, I do have a question. This is probably the first dumb question of many to come. But when you say fan art, what exactly are we talking about? Fan art, like
fan art is basically when you sit down and you come up with an idea. Say you want to draw a version, or you want to draw Superman doing something. You want to draw Batman, but it's like you take either DC IP or Marvel IP or Image IP, one of their characters, and you redraw it some kind of way different from how they've drawn it. And then you make a poster out of it. And that's fan art. But once you start doing cons, you'll come to find out that a lot of those guys have like the same kind of fan art. I mean, you'll walk around and you'll see Superman this way, you'll see Superman that way. Then you walk around and be like, yo, I just saw that back there on aisle 3, you know what I'm saying? But when I do mine, I like to incorporate some of my characters. That way, you know, you're getting some authentic art, something that's new, because you get tired of the same old. That's what I believe.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just, I heard you say fan art, and as someone who, again, is not familiar with this space, so it's just kind of like, you know, there's got to be someone listening that's like me, that's like, what? So I figured we'd get that clarification. But that is cool. That makes sense. Take your original characters, mix it in with characters people familiar with. And I mean, I could see, you know, my son walking down and seeing it and seeing, oh, there's Spider-Man. And then, whoa, that's cool. That's something different I haven't seen. So yeah, that's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, because that's basically how I always get people to come to my table. And you speak of Spider-Man. I drew one picture with Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Static Shock, and then I introduced one of my characters into that picture. And every time somebody walked by, they was like, "Yo, that's Static Shock." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's my." They were like, "Who's the other guy?" I was like, "Why don't you come over here and find out?" And then I tell them about my character, and the next thing you know, I'll be done sold them a poster. And they be like, "Yo, love your art, thank you." You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's basically how you get them. So, when you do stuff like that, it's easy to pull that person over to your table, because if they love that character, they're gonna come over and check it out. Like I said, that Broku, that Dragon Ball Z one I did, that one stops all the anime characters every time. They'll come by and look, and they'll be like, "Yo, I like that," and I'll be like, "Come on over, let me explain to you about this, how this all went down." And when they leave, they got the poster in their hand. And I had a couple of them ask me to do other characters like that and stuff. But I was like, I could probably do something like that. So I did Vegeta with long dreadlocks, white glowing dreadlocks and stuff like that, holding with a big energy surge over his head and stuff like that. So I'm slowly building on it, but you know, been busting my butt on my comic book. So doing a lot of that fan art. It takes some time, because you want to come up with something that's different, just eye-catching.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You mentioned your book. Tell us about your book. For those who don't know, I mean, I've obviously seen a bunch of the artwork. Nick's heard about it, but tell us about A-Ball.
Shoot, Todd, I think you've probably seen the whole book from sketch art to almost completed project. I think every time I do something, let me explain something to y'all. So I can sit up there and say stuff about me, him and Nick. Nick don't say too much. Nick is a cool guy. Nick is like who you hang out with, like at the table and stuff. But I done called Todd several times, man, and Todd gave me plenty of advice. So don't sit up there and let you think like Marvin helped us out. Yeah, I went over there and I did my thing. He was new, and I was just talking to him. But trust me, Todd helped me out a whole lot, man. And while we on air, dude, I want to say thank you to you and Nick, man, for both of y'all coming out and just being cool guys. Like you said, I mean, I found out in this business doing indie art, indie comics and stuff like that, it's a lot of like savagery and like just arrogant people. And it's like, I got into doing comics because it's fun. It's like you're doing something you want to do from your childhood. But I've met some seriously arrogant buttheads.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They're out there.
And it's like you're taking something that's like something from your childhood that I know when I used to sit down when I was young and read a comic book, that was like my time to fantasize and set your mind free. But I got to give a lot up to Todd, man. He helped me out a lot too, and just want to say thank you, man, to you and Nick, man, because you guys could have turned out to be a bunch of buttheads too, but you didn't. You know what I'm saying? So
if you want butthead stories, I've got plenty of them.
There's probably a bunch of people out there that disagree, but I thank you very much, and that means an absolute lot, man. You again have been there throughout our entire journey, and it's been very helpful, and again, just very much appreciate it, man.
But if you want to get down to my story, Hardcore Chronicles of the Hit Squad, 8 Ball, and his adventures before he joined up with the Hit Squad, it's basically how can I say? I didn't base it out of New York. I based it out of Florida. I think I always said there was enough superheroes in New York. New York should be the safest place on planet Earth. All the superheroes are there, okay? And then they spread it to the West Coast. But nobody's saving Florida, so you know what I'm saying? So I decided to save Florida, starting from the southwest side where I live at and stuff. And the funny thing with that story, how it started was, like I said, I live on the east. I used to live on the East Coast, and every time I leave from the West Coast to go to the East Coast, I always drive past Lake Okeechobee. And it was all, you know how they got the Army Corps engineers out there. They're always doing something, redirecting the water and stuff. And I was like, yo, what is they doing out there in Lake Okeechobee? You know what I'm saying? And then I started to formulate a story around that. And that's basically how Hardcore Chronicles of the Hit Squad was formed. So basically the story is based off of the red tide algae and stuff. That red tide algae is mixed with like a mutation from like outer space, and it got into the waterway and everything, and it started, can I use the word mutate? It started making everybody change. It got into the waterways, into the air and stuff, into the meats and the vegetables and stuff like that, and we started eating it, and then all of a sudden, people started developing these superpowers and everything and stuff like that. And 8 Ball father was one of the Army Corps of engineers that was out there. He actually fell in the water and like almost drowned. So he got a big dose of that chemical and stuff in his body. And then after he was saved, he went on, after almost near-death experience, it's like, you want to live life. So then he was married. He had a child. So 8 Ball came out as a second generation of that kind of mutation. And he knew he had powers and stuff. So his father was kind of trying to keep it quiet. But his father knew he had powers. He was kind of like training him. Well, his father died from like a brain tumor and everything and stuff. So after that, 8 Ball became a little bit belligerent. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to act out. And so he started, there was an underground fighting network called PIT, which stands for power, intensity, and technique and stuff like that. And it was like big time. They had like all the superpower people who wanted to make money because gangs and stuff were ganging up. And so he started fighting. Once he started fighting and stuff like that, he rose to the top of the ranks real quick because he's just a straight powerhouse. And once he did that, then other people started keeping an eye on him. And then he thought that people were trying to get at him and trying to mess his life up and everything and stuff. But then he understood there was more people out there like that. And the government was after him as well, too. So once you get the book, you'll find out the rest of the story.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And you'll find the rest of the story and why 8 Ball did what he did and what happened and what caused this to occur. And I'll give you this much. Once this goes so far, you'll understand why 8 Ball is the way he is. And then when he joined the Hit Squad, why they do what they do.
Well, now I know I can just basically go read all the text messages you've sent me, but if I actually want to hold the book in my hands, how can I buy the book? Where should we go to buy it?
Well, right now, what I'm gonna be doing right now is I'm gonna be trying to get back into doing cons. After COVID hit, I kind of slowed down on a lot of things. After I did the Orlando Comic-Con last year, it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth because everybody was saying it was COVID, but things didn't transpire like I thought it would. And I wasn't too happy with that. So I just slowed down and wanted to perfect the book and got it a lot better and work on my other stuff and get more fan art out. So right about now, I'm going to do not a GoFundMe, but do a Kickstarter. And also I'll be selling it at the Comic Cons, and you can also buy it off of my website at swurvecomics.com. And I'm gonna have all that set up here within the next probably like week. Yeah, this week. Yeah, it'll be this week. I have everything set up on my website and stuff. And a brother will be looking for donations. If you want to slide a brother, I'll put a little cash app on there. So brother, some change. It's not easy trying to fund Swurve Comics. I'm doing it. But if you really want to back me up, and I'm not asking for a whole lot of money, man, give a brother $1. You know what I'm saying? $1 will help to show that you like my artwork and stuff. If you see me at the cons and everything and stuff, I know I told a couple people that it was coming, and then it didn't come, and then COVID showed up before I got the book out. COVID shut down everything and postponed it for like a year or more, but it's finally done. Baby Doll is on the way, and I'm also working on the second book as well too, and everything. So
Nice.
I just been busy as hell.
Well, busy's good, and I will say for the folks that are going to be listening, we filmed this a couple weeks in advance. So if you're listening now, Marvin's stuff is available. Go check it out on his website, and you will be able to purchase it.
Exactly.
I've been talking for a minute, so somebody else take it away.
And that was swurvecomics.com.
Yes, sir. Swurvecomics.com.
Okay. So if you're listening, type search bar swurvecomics.com.
You can also
check
check me out on my Instagram, Swurve_comics, and I'm also on TikTok. So
Nice.
I try to show off as much stuff as I can.
Nice. So you mentioned government in your story. So what do you think about the whole Disney and the governor of Florida and wrong podcast? I'm sorry.
Well, what I'm gonna do for you, Angel?
Where are we going?
Angel, I'll tell you like this. I don't try to get all into the politics.
Oh, no. It was a joke. It was an awful attempt at a joke. Awful attempt.
I'm sitting here looking at him like, what are you doing? I'm going to fly to Texas and
Don't
punch
go
you.
this way. Don't go that way.
No, but seriously, I do have a question. So like when you're coming, because as you're expanding that story and your characters, it's like it's pretty in depth. Like, where do you get these ideas from? Like, do you take time out of your day? You're like, hey, on Tuesday from 12 to 2, I'm sitting in this room, I'm coming up with an idea. Or are you driving? Or are you in the restroom? Or like, where do these ideas come from? And then when you get something, like, do you stop? Do you write it down? Like, what's your process like? For me, that just sounds so overwhelming to develop something like that. So I just can only imagine like how it comes to you. And is it a course of like, do you set a week and you say, I've got to have my story or my outline done? Or is this something that just naturally progresses over time and, time determines when it's complete? Hopefully that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying. Basically how it started out, like I said, I used to work like graveyard shift. And, when you work a night shift, like doing security and stuff, and ain't nothing happening, you just sitting there. So I used to pull out pencil and paper and just start writing stories, because I wrote stories before I had characters. And I used to just write out stories. Like I said, I used to picket people on my shift. And I used to write stories about them. And then I used to let a couple of people read them. And, we used to laugh it off until one of my coworkers, they was like, yo, that is nice. It was like, if you take Dum Dum out and put some real person in, put a real character in there, this would be a good story. And so I took some of their advice and stuff, and I started writing those stories and stuff. And then before I knew, I had wrote like over 30 some odd stories, man. 30 little short stories. And it would come from a lot of times just real interactions with things that I've seen at work or with family. And I would take it and just put what I call a twist of swerve in it. You know what I'm saying? It would start out like a regular story. Like I wrote one called Family Fun Day. And all that was taken from when I took me and my son, and then we went to SeaWorld. But once we got to SeaWorld was like under attack, and we had to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it took it from basic reality of a family just going to SeaWorld, and then you just put a little twist in there and take it to the supernatural. And then in the end of the story, you bring it back down and make it just back to an average story. But while you was in the story, a whole bunch of other crazy stuff was going on. But you bring it back down and try to keep it kind of keep it reality based, but raise it up a little bit. I don't go too far out. I like to keep it kind of like just reality based. Like, hey, yeah, we was at, it would make you think like, yeah, I was at SeaWorld. I remember that, but wow, could that really happen? And just let your mind wander and be free. Like I said, like I was going to say before, I'm old school. I don't put all the like politics and stuff in there. I want to give you a good story to make you sit there and think, intrigue your mind, and leave you with good artwork and stuff to intrigue your eyes and make it all work together to keep you satiated and satisfied with the comic book in your hand.
Going back a little, when you were writing stories, did you always want it to be a comic book, or were you writing it for more short story style?
I can't even lie to you, Nick. In the beginning, it was just straight fun, man, picking at people. So, it was straight fun. Just, a couple of people piss you off. Look, I can't do nothing to you because I got to keep this job and I got some bills I need to pay. But in this story, I can have you get beat up by a gang of squid creatures and ripped apart. You know what I'm saying? And I let other people who don't like you read it, and they be like, yeah, that'd be good to happen to his ass. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, that was really just it. It started out it started out as a fun thing, just expand the imagination. I always had like a crazy imagination. When I was in college, I had a really good English teacher, and she used to just always like let us write stories. She'll give us like a half a story, and it'd be like, the little girl ran off into the woods, and they'd be like, you finish it. And I used to be like, I got a good spot for that. And I always used to twist it either to supernatural or something to the macabre, that something crazy happened. And she used to just love reading my stories. She was also, Miss Smith, she was also one of my people that like encouraged me to be more creative and stuff like that. I never knew I could write until I got into college. I knew I could draw, but once I got in college, that's when I really started writing more and more and more, and just letting my mind flow, being creative with it.
And when you were drawing, so at what age were you like drawing something and realized like, okay, they're over here in like drawing stick figures, but I can like create real characters and look like my stuff is so much better than that 5-year-old? Or was it like 12? Or like, how's that? I'm not a drawer. I can barely draw stick figures. So I've always been amazed by people that have talent. And it's like, when do you know, like, hey, I'm talented? Like, this is legit. This is something that's impressive. Like, how early do you know?
We'll see you out there.
All right, man. I'll catch y'all at the cons, man.
All right. Thank you all.
Take it easy.